Well, good morning, good afternoon to all y'all guys out there in the YouTube world. This is a little project I started here yesterday morning, and it's been quite challenging. It's going to be a little sawmill that we're going to be able to use up on our property to cut a little bit of wood that we might be able to use in the future once we start building. It's a little wider than I expected it to be, but being I'm not an engineer and I'm not a welder, we're just kind of, with no prints, just putting something together here that we think will work. We use the gate casters off your rolling gates that you buy from most of your home lumber, hardware stores, Home Depot, or your local places that might sell this type of product. We've got the carriage where where the engine's going to mount. It'll go up and down on the side rails here with some Acme screw rods. We'll put a crank or handle, electric motor up here on the top to drive it up and down. We have a lot of parts coming in for it, and as we continue to get the parts in and we continue daily on the project or every week on it, I'll try to post more videos, show the progress to help y'all guys out there do the same thing that I'm doing. YouTube has been a great help for me. Without that, I wouldn't have made it as far as I have. There's nobody around here that does this type of project, but we're tackling it to see how it comes out. Mama's kind of got me in her back pocket today. She wants me to cook her some chicken, so we got some chicken on the pit here. And you know, if Mama ain't happy, there ain't nobody happy. We hope you enjoyed this short video. Again, as I stated, once we go a little further with it, I'll try to give y'all updates or new videos posted each step of the way. If you got any questions, send me a message to YouTube and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Been a lot of helpful people done the same for me. Thank you. Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you're at, guys. As I stated in the first video I put up of this little old homemade sawmill that I'm trying to put together here, I would kind of update y'all as the progress went along. I've got a lot of things put in place. Not all of it is actually exactly where it needs to be, you know, welded solid, but everything is kind of jigged up, and I've cranked it up, and the blade's running true with no guides or anything at this point, so I know we made some pretty positive progress. I'm just going to kind of run around it and give you all a few pointers as to how I did things on it today. I've taken some of the information that I've gotten off of YouTube videos, and they have been very, very helpful. On this end, you'll see my adjuster. I can adjust the blade any way I want to go with it, pretty much. And it seems to work very well. It's a little unusual, but we're working with a lot of stuff that we had left over from other projects instead of buying new product, new material, new steel, new bolts and nuts, and yeah, so far we're doing all right with it. I'll tell you, as you go along, you'll find out that it's really not as easy as a lot of people say it is on YouTube. It's a lot of measuring, a lot of testing, a lot of fitting. We've got a little old bitty Kohler Command Pro 14 429cc motor that we pull off a water well drilling machine that we built several years ago. We just kind of swap it back and forth instead of buying two motors. You see here I got 4 little old bitty bushings, or not bushings, but little rubber shock absorbers. I'm going to drill those out, put them underneath the motor in between that and the channel iron that supports the engine here. Again, we've got the steel casters. I did run it for a while. I think that the pulley that I have right here is just going to be a little bit too small. I need to go a little bit larger. It's just spinning like crazy. I think it's running way too fast. At half the throttle, I think it's probably running faster than it needs to. So I should have taken the advice a lot of people on YouTube told us about the pulley. That I think that's like an 8 inch, 8 1/4 inch. Probably need to go to 10 to 11 inch to be able to really run the motor 3/4 throttle, a little more, to get the maximum torque out of it to actually drive the blade itself. This end I have fixed. It's non-adjustable. I do all the adjustment on the opposite end of it. You know, I appreciate any pointers anybody can give me. Like I said, there's a belt adjustment on it with a little like a go-kart clutch, but it's a 1 inch drive shaft. It seems to work pretty well. Acme screw rods for the adjuster. I'll come over this contraction of actually running 2 chains with a little handle in the middle. Later on I might put a motor or something there in the center to make it easier to go up and down. Fine adjustment, so it should work very well there also. Again, we welcome any comments you might have, any advice. We've still got a long ways to go. We've got the guides to put on it. We've got the covers to put on it. We got to make all that stuff. Right now, it's just seeing how far we can get to make sure that it runs properly before we finish up anything else. But as we go along, we'll post some more videos and show y'all how we progress with it. We appreciate your time. Y'all have a good day. Hello, my name is Larry. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Let me start off with saying that we're going to try to put this video together today, and I apologize for the background noise, but we've got a 5-lane highway out in front of the shop here, and it's like a racetrack. I put this video together to try to answer some of the questions that I get in emails about dimensions and sizes on what I used, and you know, the width and the height and stuff like that, and hopefully I can answer most of your questions. If not, post something in the comments section. I'll be glad to update it for you to answer any questions you might have. To start out with, this is a homemade sawmill. It's not a production made thing. It's just something that I put together, and it's worked very well. It's done a really good job. I've cut a lot of material with it already. I'm in the process right now of updating the guides on it. You can see right here I'm putting one together, laying up against the engine here. But I'm revising the guides. I'm using this old setup here that I've had on it for the last 6 months, and it's bulky, it's cumbersome, but it does work. And I had another guide set on the other side over here that was made out of this stuff here. I was trying different types of guides, and it was set up on the same thing, a bearing, but we're trying to update it and make it a little nicer. To start out with, the sawmill the blade is 196 inches overall. It's 1.5 inches wide. I'm not going to say where I get the blades from because nobody endorses me on those. I pay the outrageous price that I pay for them, but the blade I got on here is a little more expensive than most of the standard blades, and it lasts a whole lot longer. So, you know, you get what you pay for out there in the blade world, in the sawmill industry. The wheels themselves are actually 18 3/4 inch diameter, and we do have a few of those for sale on our website at tx-coverage.com under the industrial section. We also sell the wheel with the belt, which you see here. It rides in the V groove that grabs the actual blade itself. The shafts that I'm using on the pulleys are 1 inch diameter. I'm running pillar blocks to hold that. The plate that they're attached to is 5/16 inch thick, and I'll get you the width on that. Give me a second here. I know I'm trying to take a little bit of guesswork out, because when I built this one here, nobody really helped me. They're 10 inch by 10 inch. And with the way I've got it set up now, they're spaced out, what you see right here on the adjustment end, 1 inch and 7/8. Now, the measurements from this section right here I'm pointing to, all the way down to this other end over here where this nasty welding job is actually, let me see where I wrote it down here, or let me get you a measurement. Sorry about all the bouncing around, but I'm trying to do this by myself, folks. Give me 1 second here. It's actually 62 5/8. Like I said, now that's from the inside down on the plate on that end, all the way down to the inside of the plate on this end. So that'll give you some dimensions there. The outside dimension from here all the way to the other end down here to the outside is 60 inches. So that gives you the width of the overall top part of the sawmill. Now, this section here, measured from the outside, of this 2.5-inch square tubing. From here all the way to the other end, to the outside, is 60.5 inches. So outside to outside, left post to the right post, which is right here, 60.5. That gives you enough room for this piece of square tubing to travel up and down and slide evenly. The pulley that is on the back of this thing right here, that is attached to the drive on the motor, or attached to the pulley on the back of the motor, is 11.5 inches in diameter. Now they make two different types of shafts. One, you could use this little squeeze collar or whatever they call it to tighten it up and keep it in place, or the one that just presses on the shaft. I preferably like this type here because I can move it very easily if I need to. Pull the screws out, put them back in these two holes. It pulls this out, put them back in, and tightens it back down in the place you want it to. I've also, on the pillow blocks on this end, I started out with having the degree or the angle of this wheel further out this way by a fraction, maybe 1/4 inch. Keep in mind that whenever you load this blade on here and you put a lot of tension, there's going to be some stress, fatigue in this area here, all the way through the system, all the way out to where this blade is hugging this wheel. So what I did was, when I set it up, I did it, bring it out, like I said, a little bit angle this way, maybe 1/4 inch. That way, whenever the blade you tighten the blade up, it's going to pull it back in, and it's going to put a lot of stress on it. And then I also got some car shims to shim up the pillow block if I needed to line the blade or line the pulley on this end after there was tension on it. Now, once you get this end set over here, you pretty much don't have to do anything with it. The only time you're going to have to do any adjustments is going to be on this end. And I did it the same way. When I set it up originally, I brought this pulley out 1/4 inch this way. So if you're looking at this end of the sawmill all the way to the other end of the sawmill, you would say, well, the pulleys are out on each end. That is correct. When that blade tightens up, you're going to pull it right back in where you need it, and it's going to track real true. Now on this end, the pillow blocks are attached. There's no shims in either side, as you see here. But I've incorporated my one-of-a-kind adjustment that I haven't seen anybody else use out there on YouTube or on the internet. Two 5/16 inch plates, 1/2 inch rod, all thread, nuts on the inside, and nuts on the outside. As long as you've got this wheel spaced out evenly here and on the other end in the same location, right here in this area, you got these two wheels lined up the best you can. 95% of the time you can get all the adjustments you need out of these bolts here, the bolts that are on these plates. Not really hard. People are, I think, a little intimidated by that setup, but wow, I'm going to build another sawmill here in the near future, and when I do, it's going to have the same setup. I really like it. It's easy to load the blade on. It's easy to adjust. I can usually change it out in less than 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. To go up and down on the sawmill, I've used this, I guess you call it mill thread rod. And all I did was put a little pulley up on top with another pillow block. That made me an old hand crank here out of some old round stock. Just weld it to it. Pillow block with a bottom, pillow block with a top, with some chain up on top, driving both sides. It's a little adjuster here to take the slack out of the chain. And the rod runs all the way down both sides. Bottom to top. Back on this side. Top to bottom. And of course, my old adjuster here is just he just slides back and forth, loosen this bolt up here, and I can slide this this back and forth if I want to cut a small log. But we haven't been cutting very many small logs. We've been cutting some pretty big stuff, usually 24 to 38 to 42 inches wide. the actual rollers that are on the bottom. These are steel rollers and greasable fittings in the middle of them. Also, we sell these on our website at tx-covers.com under the industrial section. Got any questions about those, give us a call. We'll damn sure send you a set of those, no problem. Like I said, I'm not sure if I covered everything that y'all need in this video. Again, I apologize for the background noise, but really don't have a good location to shoot these videos, especially when you got a sawmill like this, and I'm not going to put it out there in the dirt and the mud. Let me run around the back, get you a shot of the little motor. We run a little Kohler Command Pro 14, 429cc engine, and you know, it seems to do a very good job for us. It never loads it up. I run it about 3/4 throttle. It's an old motor that I've had about 3 years. I run it on a water wheel drilling machine that I built here recently also. I say recently, about 4 years ago. Running a little bit of centrifugal clutch on it. And this is the original clutch. I've been running it for the whole year with no problems, up to date. So it must be a pretty sturdy little clutch. All right, folks. If I've helped you in any form or fashion, hit the like and subscribe button. We'd appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel. I know that recently YouTube changed the monetization tactics on the YouTube channel, and if you have less than 1,000 subscribers, you cannot monetize any videos. We'd really appreciate it if y'all would help us reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. All the help would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, hit the like and subscribe button. If you got any questions or comments, post them below. I'll respond to them as quick as I can. Like I said, this video was to take some of the guesswork out of trial and error on trying to build one of these things. It does help if you've got some kind of starting points, and I'll be glad to actually give you anything I can on it. I don't know if I mentioned the center, the dimensions from the center of this shaft to the center of this shaft. But if I didn't, I'll mention it. If I did, I'll mention it again. It is 68 and a half center of this shaft to center of this shaft, and that's with the 196-inch blade. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you liked the video. Good morning, YouTube world. I wanted to create a little video. I got a lot of people asking a lot of questions about how I tension my blade on this homemade sawmill that I built here. It's pretty simple. It's 2 plates that are spaced out with all thread rod, and it has nuts on the inside of each plate. Got washers on it where it's needed, and I'm able to actually take and move the band wheel out in all directions, top and bottom, front and rear. It's actually pretty simple to use, and it doesn't take long when you want to put a blade on. You just loosen the four outside bolts here, or actually you'll loosen this one and you'll loosen this one to where the plate actually pivots, you know, with the front end of it going in towards the middle of the blade, and this part here will actually come out, which will relieve the tension on the blade itself. You really don't have to back it off very far, just enough to get the blade off, and you put it back in place, and 90% of the time you just put it back to the original position, and you don't really need to do much adjustment on the blade. It usually tracks very well. As you can see, this blade here, I have run through probably 5 or 6 different logs with it. I have learned something about blades. I was buying the cheaper ones only to find out that they'd make 6 or 8 cuts and just go dull real quick, and you couldn't sharpen them. So I went to this new bimetal blade, and man, I'm telling you, the bimetal blade is by far one of the best blades I've ever used. I've even ran it into several pieces of steel by accident. One of them is right here, as you see on the top of this little cam I have here, and it just continued to cut. I can't say enough about the bimetal blades. But back to the adjustment, I'll try to get you some more close-up shots of it. I've never seen a sawmill out there that had this kind of setup. I wanted to try something different. Everything I've seen on YouTube is quite a bit different. A lot of people said it wouldn't work, but I have to disagree with them after having a sawmill for about 4 or 5 months that it's worked marvelously great for me. Try to get y'all some more pictures of it here a little bit. I welcome any comments, any likes or dislikes. I'm no pro sawmill builder, but this project I built for myself, and it's turned out very well. Again, any questions or comments, feel free to tag it and place them down at the bottom of the listing here. We thank you from Woodworking.